IGN France's editor-in-chief has implied that the design of Eve in Stellar Blade is causing actual violence and, in some cases, potentially killing women in the real world. He also claims that gamers are becoming, quote, too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. This is over at thatparkplace.com, and it was brought to public attention by former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern. So he posted this over on X. IGN France editor-in-chief melts down. Stellar Blade is literally killing women. Thanks to Top EK 899 for the translation. He shares a screenshot from a comment on IGN France's website, specifically on their Stellar Blade preview post. So he shared this, and then obviously he shares the translation. If we go back over here, you can see the translation, which we'll get to. Let's get back to the article over here. So in the initial comment that's now deleted, they've deleted actually all of their comments from that article. Lafleuriel, who also happens to be the author of Fallout: A Tale of Mutation, responded to a comment made by a user who said this. This is what this user said. And I used a translation via DeepL. It's a shame that women also like this character design. Guys who are afraid of hypersexualization as if it were dirty. And then he sarcastically wrote, "Long live the Neo-Puritans." And then so in the response, Lafleuriel wrote this, and this is the translation from Top EK 899. And he says, "Yes, no problem. Go tell that to the women who are hit, killed, denigrated, or who commit suicide because they cannot live up to the fictional standards expected by men. The problem is not the sexy design itself, except that it sucks compared to others. But hey, that doesn't matter. But the percentage of males who will only want this type of fictional body in reality. Obviously, we understand that this does not shock people who think that women are objects who must obey and be beaten. This design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we laugh at anyone who needs it, man or woman, but that's it." And then he concluded, the certainly clashing remark in the text, which targets the entire creative process, not necessarily a specific designer or the game director. This is obvious to anyone who knows a little French, only has this impact because a good portion of gamers have become too fragile due to being fed the patriarchy. So I also ran Lafleuriel's comments through DeepL, and this is what the DeepL translation reads. "Yes, no problem. Tell that to the women who get beaten up, denigrated, or who commit suicide because they can't live up to the fictitious standards expected by men. It's not the sexy design itself that's the problem, except the fact that it sucks compared to others, but that's okay. It's the percentage of males who will only want this fictional body type in the real world. Of course, it's understandable that this doesn't shock people who think women are objects to be obeyed and beaten. For us, this design makes us sigh and roll our eyes, and we don't care who needs it, man or woman, but that's all." The text's admittedly clashing remark aimed at the entire creation process, not necessarily at a specific designer or game director. This is obvious to anyone who I think is supposed to be understands a little French. Only has this impact because a good proportion of gamers have become too fragile as a result of being bottle-fed patriarchy. So these comments come in the wake of IGN France's Ben Sola criticizing the design of Eve and those who created her. In the article that Erwan, how do you say his last name, Lafleuriel, is commenting on, this is what Sola wrote about Eve's design. "The design of the game, particularly its characters, highlights an obvious bias. We're going to smash the alien, but if we can do it while pleasing these gentlemen, that's a bonus. And the result is not really a success. It's not new, and other games have chosen to highlight the strengths of their female characters, but where a Bayonetta stands out with an iconic character design, or a 2B from Nier Automata inspires an entire generation of cosplayers, Eve from Stellar Blade is just bland. A doll sexualized by someone you would think has never seen a woman." That last line of Osala's comments would be edited for clarity, with IGN France's editing staff writing this. "The last sentence has been slightly edited for French-speaking people pretending not to understand what we meant, and the English-speaking mob who Google translated the initial text." I would not be surprised if that was Lafleuriel writing that, given the fact that he is the editor-in-chief for IGN France. So IGN has since issued an apology that sits atop the article now, the original article, and that apology reads this. "Recently, IGN France produced and published a preview of Stellar Blade containing an offensive passage that should never have never been kept. The text has now been edited, and here's our official apology to the Shift Up Corporation studio staff. Also, please note that IGN France is an independent branch of IGN and that IGN's editorial staff had nothing to do with this incident. I actually think this apology is coming from IGN and is not coming from IGN France. I think we see that given the fact that you can see here in this screenshot that they have changed the byline. It no longer has Ben Osala's name on it. It now says Team IGN France. And I think based on this comment that we saw from IGN France's editor-in-chief, he probably has nothing to do with this apology. And if it was up to IGN France, they probably would have never apologized in the first place. But nevertheless, the apology goes on and says, the original text of the Stellar Blade preview contained comments that were out of place. While it was never our intention to disrespect Shift Up or any of its employees or their work, we recognize that the phrase taken in its literal sense was inappropriate and we regret it. To anyone at Shift Up Corporation who felt personally targeted and insulted by this passage, we are truly sorry and sincerely apologize. So I know this is probably going to be controversial, but I do think there is a fine line, and I'm not sure that Stellar Blade actually crosses that line or not. I haven't played the game. I have seen some stuff, but it seems like it could be innocuous, and people are just kind of pointing it out because they're really focusing in on it. But I do think there is a fine line between having a very beautiful character such as Eve that is based off of a Korean model. They scanned her body. And basically like titillization or really getting kind of close to pornographic material. Obviously, I am a Christian and a Catholic, and so I don't want people to be engaging in that kind of titillization or that pornographic material. I think that damages the people who engage in that. It damages the people around them, and obviously, I think it damages society at large as well. So I do think there is that fine line, and again, I'm not sure that Stellar Blade crosses that line. It does look like it is just an extremely attractive female character. They based her off of they based her body off of a real life Korean model, and they crafted their own face from their imaginations or what they view as a beautiful woman. And I think that is to be commended, because I do think the beauty of a woman is to bring us closer to God, just as like the strength and masculinity of men is to also elevate people upwards and bring them closer to God as well, because you want to please those beautiful women, and you hope those beautiful women are aligning themselves with Christ. And if they're doing that, you would probably be trying to do that as well. So I think that is what I have to say here. Obviously, I know those comments are probably controversial, but I'm a Christian and I'm a Catholic, and that is what I believe. And again, like I said, I'm not sure that Stellar Blade actually does indeed do this. I mean, she just looks like a very attractive female character that's going around killing a bunch of alien monsters in a post-apocalyptic Earth. But let me know what you guys make of what Lafleuriel, is that how you say his name? Yeah, Lafleuriel's comments are here. Obviously, I think his comments are utterly ridiculous. There's absolutely no way that this character's design is leading to women getting beat up, denigrated, or causing them to commit suicide. That is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. There's probably a lot of other factors that go into those things happening. I do not think it has to do with a fictional game character's design. That's just, it's just absurd to me to kind of even like think that someone would make those types of comments. But here we are. As far as people being upset about the comments that were made and him claiming that people are becoming too fragile because they're being bottle fed patriarchy, that seems just a little bit utterly ridiculous as well. Not seems, but it is utterly ridiculous as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the patriarchy, and in a real patriarchy, men would be respecting women, protecting them, caring for them, nurturing them. They probably have daughters that they would want to protect and raise to be proper God-fearing women and ladies. So clearly this person is maybe talking about maybe some like hyper machismo patriarchy rather than what a true patriarchy really is, which would be men serving as protectors, not only to their family, but to probably their society and culture at large. But again, let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.